Hey, what's up? I'm Gus. I play keyboards in the band Alt J.
Hey, I'm Zach Carothers. I play bass in Portugal, the man, and welcome to Two for the Road on Consequence.
Obviously, some great releases have come from both of you guys. So the first thing that I want to know is sort of take me back to the first time that your band met the other band. Was this years ago? What is the history between Alt J and Portugal, the man?
I don't believe we've ever actually met, Zach.
No,
Really?
we haven't. This is a blind date tour.
We're going on a 2-month-long blind date together, basically.
Hope we like each other.
Yeah.
This could be awkward, if not.
It could be. But I believe that we are label mates. Am I right there?
We are, yes. And so we've got a lot of connections, and it makes sense. I'm really surprised we don't know each other. Everybody that likes our band loves your band.
Likewise.
I'm kind of surprised. I mean, we live far away from each other, but
True.
Besides that, yeah, we've been in kind of the same circles.
I feel like I know you. And we can basically compare notes on all the various Atlantic radio people from around the country and all their different foibles and strange habits, and we're going to have lots to talk about, basically.
Well, that's wonderful. So, obviously this tour is about to come up. You guys are touring all throughout America. I know it's going to be a super fun time, I'm sure, with both of your bands and Cherry Glazer, of course, and Sir Chloe on tour. So I guess maybe let's go back a little bit further too. Any great tour memories that either of you have from the last 10 years, either touring in America or Portugal touring in the UK? Are there any rituals that you guys have?
I mean, we did our first big American tours back in 2012, and that was back when we were in a splitter van. It was not very glamorous, but I'm so glad that we got to see America in that way, because actually, you're staying in motels and you're doing day drives between gigs, and we properly got to see the country. I mean, I remember one drive in particular where we went from Minneapolis all the way to Seattle. That was they were the two gigs, and I think it was a 3-day drive, and I mean, we kind of went completely mad in the van on that trip, but at the same time, getting to drive literally all the way across, Montana and things like that is a proper experience, and I feel like we've definitely earned our stripes, as it were, on the road.
That's so funny. We've got similar stories because it's hard to break into the UK market for American bands. It's really, really difficult. And so we did a lot of punk rock touring around Europe and sprinters and stuff. And the UK was always super fun because we're driving on the wrong side of the road. And so it was amazing.
Never gets old.
It was the first time I had ever done that. And so we were pulling into town, and our singer kind of made it. His brain just works a little differently than mine. So I was all stressed out about going down the wrong way. Once you get into it, it's fine. But he put it real simply. He was just he's like, oh, just whatever you want to do the opposite. And I was like, oh, it just totally worked. And it was definitely, it was super fun. And I really loved the vibe there. I mean, so many, our first trip there was super heavy. And we were playing with not good situations. We didn't have, a shit parking, really small clubs and everything like that. But that's what's important. You got to see the real thing first, and we had already done so much of that in America and everywhere else that we were a little late to get to the UK. But just all the history there and the music that's come from there, and just it was amazing just seeing the names of streets and bars and everything that I've heard about in music that I've grown up with my whole life, and to see it, it was really special.
That's cool. I think our main obsession actually was just trying all the fast food that we'd seen on from watching Man vs. Food and things like that. I had a kind of long list of places I wanted to check out, and different kinds of burgers. Juicy Lucy's in Minneapolis, which I just mentioned, and obviously In-N-Out Burger and all this kind of thing. Because in the UK we obviously have McDonald's and Burger King, and we're starting to get more. We have our first Popeyes here now, which just opened a few months ago. Yeah, it's big lines outside Popeyes.
Big move.
But we don't have all these other ones like Wendy's and things just don't exist here. So but to us, growing up watching American films and American TV, it's that's just important to us to go and experience these different kinds of burgers.
Oh, totally. it's a stereotype for a reason. Like we're that stuff. And if y'all are still into that kind of thing, dude, we're friends with so many chefs. That's like kind of our thing. And we eat well on tour. I know this one's gonna be a little weird. There's a lot of COVID protocols and like it's totally not normal. I mean, it's gonna be weird and fun to see, but we know good food spots and we know good people.
That's sure. Awesome. I think the older we get, the more going on tour for us is definitely about eating well and sort of enjoying being in different. I mean, there's no better way to experience a city than to go for a great meal, I think. So yeah, any pointers you have, please share them. And as I say, I hope we can sit down and eat together a lot, despite the strange COVID times.
Yeah, I mean, we will. It was probably backstage at the venue and catering, but we'll get some good stuff, and we're gonna have we're bringing a barbecue. And
oh wow.
Yeah, we got a bunch of chefs that'll like come out and kind of do some stuff. But yeah, we're gonna grill meats and stuff a lot. And,
that's amazing.
Yeah, it's well because I know this is like it's like locked down, so we're gonna kind of make it. We can't do as much as we normally do, so we're gonna try to just. We're bringing a lot of toys, and
okay, great.
And so it'll be a weird one for both of us, and I'm excited. But
nothing's more COVID safe than a barbecue. You're outside. I mean, what could be better? Eating off paper plates.
Totally, yeah,
fine.
Yeah, so like that's what I'm thinking, man. I live outside kind of anyway, and yeah, I'm just gonna spend this whole tour outside. Some of it's gonna be a little cold, and we'll be fine.
We'll be good.
Amazing. Well, also speaking of COVID, I did want to actually ask, since Zach has been, the last fall, Portugal the Man was doing plenty of festival dates, plenty of touring. So Zach, do you have any sort of tips and tricks for Gus and the rest of Alt J about, touring in a COVID world, in a pandemic world, and especially touring America, where I'm sure it's a little bit different than touring England?
Yeah, it's just weird, and you just kind of do the best you can in every situation, but you can't plan too much. You just kind of go out and be safe. And luckily, nobody in our band's got it, but we're all just very careful. And yeah, we just try not to be dipshits, and we're also not like being so tight that it's crazy. I mean, things were like we're locked down for a long time, and I feel bad because I loved it. And quarantine was not a fan of COVID, but quarantine 10 out of 10 would do again. I haven't spent that much time at home since I was like 12 years old. I don't know, man. It was amazing. I was fished every day, and like it's good just not doing anything, like touring all the time, like actually getting to spend time at home with your family and stuff like that. God, it's nice.
Yeah, I can totally see where you're coming from there. I mean, I certainly found that lockdown was quite healthy for me in many ways. I think like living in London and stuff, I went out a lot, and I just filled up my calendar all the time with social events and things when I wasn't on tour. And actually, the enforced kind of just break from that was really, really good. But I mean, was it difficult? Because obviously, you said you love to eat out on tour and kind of things like that. Did you find you had to sort of cut down on that kind of thing a lot when you were out on the road last year?
Oh yeah, for sure. Yeah, we definitely cut down a lot, and it was fun. Like I've reconnected with the outdoors a lot, and so like on this tour, I'm gonna do just like safe things to get away. So I don't know if anybody fishes or anything like that, but I'm a big fly fisherman, and kind of every morning I'm gonna rent a car and just go out to find a stream somewhere and just like hang out in the woods and then come back to the show. But
I think you're going to be best friends with our guitar tech, Jack. He's a big fly fisher. He's tried to get me into it so many times, and I don't know. I love the idea of it. Just every time I do it, I just find myself. I don't really like the feeling of like having dirty hands.
Oh yeah,
it's really stupid. I just hate the feeling of like stuff on my hands. So I think fishing is not for me. But if there's a can of beer and sort of some chat, then I'm always happy to come along.
Yeah, for sure. There could just be like boating and spending time on a river too. Just ain't bad. But yeah, I totally get that. There'll probably be plenty of cans of beer, I imagine.
Great.
Wonderful. So obviously Alt J has a big album coming out in a couple weeks. It's called The Dream. And Portugal the Man, of course, has released some really awesome covers in the last year. They've done a lot of great one-off singles and collaborations. So if you guys wouldn't mind, ask each other a little bit about some of the new music and some of the recently released music, any thoughts you guys might have on each other, or just kind of take that topic.
Yeah, dude, what's it
Okay.
like? We're just finishing up a record right now, too. I mean, it's like pretty much done, just getting like, putting crosses some T's, dotting some I's, but like
Mm.
how was writing for like this world to put an album out in this, environment? Was that it was weird for us. We ditched a lot of stuff. And was that weird for you?
Mm. Yeah, I don't know really. I mean, I think we found recording during COVID to be a really good thing because actually we did have to have breaks from the studio because of lockdowns. Like our drummer is quite vulnerable health
Yeah.
wise, so we sort of had to take that quite seriously. And actually, to be honest, having these long breaks was actually really good. I think it stopped us from having studio burnout. I mean, I'm sure you know what it's like when you're in the studio for months on end, and it can be a high pressure environment. So we found it really good. I mean, I don't think we worried too much about the content of the songs. I think that we've always sort of existed a little bit in our own kind of like world and our own heads within our music and stuff. But yeah. So are you all together in Portland making the album then?
Yeah, well, we had started pre-COVID. We've been taking a long time to do it. And but yeah, it's like I feel the same way. Like you always gotta make music selfishly. And
Yeah.
but still, like when we make it selfishly, but then when we release it, we think about it a lot, and we're always just like, oh, is this good for this time? Does this make sense? Do we want to say this now? And so it was weird. But yeah, honestly, I thought I thought a lot of the breaks and like allowing yourself to you kind of, I think over the lockdown and everything, everybody found out what's like really important to them. Like you said, you had like your calendar is always filled up with just a bunch of stuff that's just like general, like a lot of it, like so much is bullshit. During quarantine, you really realized what you missed and what you didn't. Turns out I didn't miss that much. I'm just like, I miss movie theaters. And,
Yeah, really, that's interesting. Yeah, yeah.
and then and a couple things, but a lot of stuff I'm just like, oh, I can do without so much. And so recording music in that time, you kind of take that like that structure to a lot of different places in your life, and you're just kind of like, okay, when we're writing a song, we're writing stuff, we're like, all right, let's forget all the bullshit and just kind of like, I feel like our worldview got much more blurry, but it's like a couple important things got super hyper focused, and I think it was really nice. Yeah.
So normally do you all live in different places, or do you still all live near each other?
Oh yeah, we live near each other. Our guitarist lives in Seattle, but we all live in the Portland area. How about you guys?
Oh, okay. Yeah, no, same here. We've always we all live in London. I think there were temptations at certain points to move abroad. I think, but I mean, actually, or just to other places. But basically, we really love London. I think we find it really useful living near each other. To be honest, it's really practical. From the mundane reasons of just like sort of dropping things around at each other's houses to actually just feeling like we're still connected. I think it's important. I mean, but then also a good friend of mine, Murph, is the lead singer of the Wombats. They've just made a new album and just released a new album, I should say. And I think he did all his tracking at his home studio in LA. The drummer lives in London, and I'm pretty sure the bassist lives in Norway. So it's definitely possible to do it. But we found that actually, on this album, we got our own studio for the first time. We rented a house and turned it into a studio, and it was lovely to be able to sort of have our own place that we could come and go whenever we wanted and treat like our own house basically. Do you guys have your own studio?
Yeah, we've got a couple. We've got me and the singer live really close to each other. It's actually, there's a river out here, and we both live on this river outside of town, so we can actually float between each other's houses. And
wow,
it's pretty rad. And then everybody lives in town, and our keyboard player has a really nice studio too. And then we all have like just little setups at our house, but we like to do a lot of recording at home. But again, we also go to studios and waste time there and stuff. But it's fun to get the vibe. But yeah, we all live super close to each other. We see each other every day. It's tight.
That's like, really cool.
Yeah.
God, the America, it's just, there's just so much space in America, isn't there? It's just, you can, everybody can have a house with it, with a studio, and it's amazing. I mean, I'm very envious of that. That's really cool.
Yeah, totally. And since me and John just recently kind of moved out of the city, like we have room, and it's nice. It's pretty nice. Got a good property. The house. Sorry, by the way, if there's some dudes swinging hammers up on my roof. And so if it gets too loud, I'll move into the other bedroom. But
I saw a little dog in the background.
oh yeah, this is my little buddy. That's Willa. It's not my dog.
Oh.
It's my gal's dog, and I'm a dog borrower. I like
Yeah.
I leave a lot for months on end, like we're about to do, and I'm a real dog guy, and I've like had a couple, but so when I'm home, I borrow dogs, and I think I'm gonna start fostering them. So just when I'm home, pick up like rescue dogs, and then just use the band's followers and stuff like that to find them good homes. So I just get to hang out with a dog for a few weeks when I'm home to get home. So I think that's
amazing.
Yeah.
That's so nice. We've got a cat, and it's funny. I was talking to my mum a couple of days ago about. She was like, "What because she was saying what basically my cousin, because my wife and my son are going to come out on tour with us for 5 weeks.
Right,
it's really, really nice. Yeah. So basically, we're still going to have to leave the cat. And my mum was saying, luckily, my cousin's going to come and house sit for us and cat sit. And my mum was like, what would you have done if you couldn't have got Alex to come and feed Spring? And I was like, honestly, I think I probably would have left the band. Like the thought of putting my cat into a cattery for 2 months, I genuinely think I would have left the band if I couldn't find someone to feed the cat. She means that much to me.
Totally, yeah. And but cats are like, I love cats a lot. Like a lot of people either cats or dogs. Nah, man, I'm cats and dogs. But like, it's so fun because, I don't feel as bad. Like cats kind of do their own thing, and
they do.
And so much like leaving a dog at home all day is like really difficult and not cool. Cats fine, like feeding them, hang out with them for a couple hours, and like dogs are sort of people animals, and cats are place animals, aren't they? I think that's the thing, is the thought of putting my cat into some kind of horrible cat hotel. But I would have found someone to feed her. I don't think it would have come to leaving the band. But people have done much worse for money,
and for animals.
Totally. Yeah.
Amazing. You guys, I love the idea of Gus leaving the band because he just couldn't find anybody to sit in.
I'm the same with that. Like I'm 40, like I'm just like, I'm like, dude, oh yeah. Like all that stuff. I'm like, nah, man, it's all about, I care about very few things, but really intensely. It's like, and I've learned that recently, like, and man, I just will not be swayed.
No.
I love that both of the bands are animal bands. I think that's wonderful. I do have a bit of a question, and this is kind of because Zach and Portugal, I got to see one of their festival sets a few months ago, and they just played so many amazing covers. And like, this is just the style of the band. Zach and I talked about this in our last interview about how that's sort of the spirit of Portugal the Man when they play live is, kind of adding so many of these fun covers, and you can tell that everybody just has a great time playing them. So I was a little bit curious from the Alt J side, are there covers that you guys just really would love to do live, or stuff that you really like to jam when you just are all picking up your instruments, you arrive at the keys, any songs that you're like, well, one day if we ever get the opportunity, we're covering this live?
There was it's funny, just in the last interview I did with Joe, our singer, he was talking about there's a song from Mulan that he really wants to cover, from the soundtrack of Mulan, the Disney film. Can't remember what it was called now. I mean, we've historically been very we found covers very, very difficult. And actually, Zach, when we're on tour together, perhaps you can try and impart some of the secrets of doing covers, because I think the problem is that in the music industry, people demand covers in a very demanding way, I find. And it's quite infuriating that you get booked for a radio session or something. They're like, oh, and if you can just do an original cover that you've never done before, that would be great. It's like,
I know.
We don't just pull covers out of our asses. Like, it does take quite a lot of time to.
Totally.
And we're not a band. You do, right?
You do. And so if you ever want to like just dabble in it and just come out on stage with us, and we'll just like pick a cover before the show, you want to try it out, but not really wear it. Like, oh, I'm just going to go out with these guys, and you don't got to ruin your set. You can ruin it.
Okay, good.
No,
I think we've just never been a band who, we're not really a band who like can just play. We don't really know chords and stuff. Like if somebody sort of says, it's really difficult for us. So but we've done some very, very dodgy covers in the past. I remember like on our first album when we didn't have enough songs to fill our set, we did this cover that was a mashup of Still Dre by Dr. Dre and Slow by Kylie Minogue, and we called it Slow Dre. And it was kind of cool, but it was the sort of thing it was cool the first time we did it, but then we basically had to play it every night for like 6 months, and we just grew to absolutely loathe it.
Yeah. See, the thing is, like, yeah, we don't like getting stuck in situations where we have to. And so, yeah, what we do is it's pretty natural. I think where we got into it, we also do like just pieces of covers. We don't do like the full song or take them too seriously most of the time. And what we're big fans of is every time we're writing a song, we've got other songs in mind or things that we like, dude, we draw influence, we rip off shit. Like there's only 12 notes. Like it's all out there in the ether, man.
Yeah.
And, so there's always like a song or a vibe that we're trying to catch. So a lot of times we'll slip a little piece of whatever song inspired the song that we made into that song. And it all comes from I grew up a metalhead and a punk kid, and I saw Pantera play in Anchorage, Alaska in like 1996, and they had they went into some covers like in the middle of their own songs, and for like a second, and like just instrumental. Like, so we do a lot of things where we'll play. There's a lot of times where we'll be playing one of our songs, and just during the second verse, like there'll be a melody from a Wu-Tang song or some shit like that. It's like we just kind of throw in pieces. Sometimes we sing, sometimes we don't, but yeah, it's more fun to us. But yeah, we don't. Two of our guys are very technical and know theory and stuff like that. The rest of us don't know anything. I'm kind of in the middle. I like know it, but I'm not one of those guys that can sit down and play. I don't know any covers. We just kind of play stuff that reminds us and sing it over it. But it's fun if you want to come out and do a little jamming.
Fuck yeah, why not? I mean, we got the whole tour together. I think it'd be a good ice-breaking exercise.
Yeah, for sure. Like yeah, it's always fun to see what it's like on day one versus the last day. It's always pretty fun. God, I haven't done this. I haven't been on tour in forever. It's so weird.
Yeah, I know. It's strange, isn't it? I'm in the process of like packing. I've started packing very, very early this time. I'm just like remembering all these things you have to take with you, and it's I can't wait. I really can't wait to get out there, to be honest. It's going to be great.
It's going to be weird, man. I'm just like, yeah, it's like I forgot how to do things, man. It's strange.
Yeah.
It's fun.